Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension. And again, today I'm your co-host, Mike Bailey, and Ellen DePlacido is here with me also. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Mike.
Yes.
That was quick.
Yes. Hey, the last few times we've talked about starting things and transitioning them out to the garden. We want to take a little bit of a different step today, don't we?
Yeah,
And
let's get into the garden.
Yeah,
A little bit.
We want to talk to novice gardeners or new gardeners and give them some hints about how they might start this whole process. Because what we'd really like to do is get more people involved with gardening.
Yes.
Because that's part of our mission. You know, and where do you start this whole process? Okay, and one of the things that I think about is that, okay, let me take a look at the site that I have, what I have available in my yard, or if I'm going to do container garden, how am I going to do this and that and whatever.
Okay.
So, you know, what are some of those things that you need to kind of take into consideration, Ellen?
Well, the first one is probably the sun. And you have to be very careful because you can't bring sun in that's not there, okay?
I never saw it on the shelf at Lowe's.
No.
Okay? I never did.
No.
Okay?
So you want a spot where there's probably full sun at least maybe 6 to 8 hours a day during the major part of your day, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., okay? Partial sun, maybe 3 to 6 hours a day. But you have to have sun, okay? The other thing, good soil and good drainage for that soil. Make sure you might have to add some amendments to that soil to make sure it has the nutrients and all that good stuff that you need. And that water doesn't sit there, okay? Because that will kill your plants.
And speaking of water?
Speaking of water, you have to have a supplemental source of water. Hopefully something close. If you have a small garden that's close to your house, you might be able to carry out little buckets and water your garden, but make sure you have some supplemental water source and some protection from animals, like a fence, or you might even have to set some traps. I know we don't like to think about that, but animals can destroy your garden.
Yeah, overnight.
They've done that to mine.
Yes, okay. So do you mind if I take a little bit of a closer look at each one of those components, okay? You know, and just add a couple of ideas, and then I'll kind of reemphasize them. First, going back to that sun, you know, if you're probably going to end up with a situation where maybe you're going to have full sun or partial, okay, or maybe a little bit different things in the garden, okay? Maybe some of it will be full sun and some of it won't be. Right. So you got to figure out, okay, of my plants, okay, which ones need the full sun and which ones are going to do well in partial sun. And typically, it's your greens, you know, that like a little bit of partial sun. Okay, and but even cabbage and cauliflower, you know, and broccoli can do well with a little bit less sun. Right. But some of the things really like full sun.
And they're called sun-loving plants.
Sun-loving plants, and those typically would be what?
Your tomatoes, peppers, your eggplant, and you know, beans and peas. They thrive in that full sun. So if you can do that, that's wonderful. If you have a yard that, you know, isn't going to provide you that opportunity, I mean, you can try it, okay? But you know, keep in mind that this might be an issue for you. Right. In the soil, you know, the more organic material you can get into it, probably the better off you are. I view organic material as kind of a slow release fertilizer, but it does more than that. It keeps the soil loose. Okay, it allows moisture to sink down into the soil. You know, it allows for, you know, the worms and the bugs and the beetles and things like that to take up habitat in the garden, and those are all very, very important for breaking down organic material to the point where the bacteria and the viruses can get at it, and then the funguses can get at it to actually release the minerals in that organic material to the plants. Okay. And they all kind of work together. And then, you know, a source of water, like Ellen said, you know, so many of our vegetables, especially when they get to the point of, you know, producing fruit. Guess what? That fruit is taking up water.
It's mostly water, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, take a look at your tomatoes. Take a look at your melons. Okay, take a look at your cucumbers. Okay, they're all water. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of how important that is. And then the animals. Okay, you're right. That can be a problem. Especially deer, woodchucks,
especially deer.
Especially deer, and even the voles can be a real problem. So you got to figure out a way of dealing with that. Fences are going to help with deer, and woodchucks and rabbits. Okay, if you do it right. Yes, they got to have some height, or even if you put a little bit of a visual distraction around the top. Okay, I like to extend my fence sometimes with a little bit of wooden stakes and some twine in between them, and that'll kind of help with that visual interruption to keep the deer from jumping over.
Right. Okay.
Ellen, we've kind of used up our time for today, so we're going to have to jump off right now, but we're going to come back to a couple of different points on this whole process.
Okay.
Number one, about planning. So how about we do that then?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening today.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.